It was October 2012 and Superstorm Sandy had just hit Westerly, as well as much of the Northeast. At that time, we were a business that was 1 year old. We had a brand new brewery here in town, and we decided to contribute the way we could contribute. So we brewed a beer called Bring Back the Beach Blonde Ale, and 100% of the revenue was dedicated to helping our neighbors and our friends, our fellow business owners, anywhere in town if they were impacted, to get back to their livelihoods as quickly as possible. We worked with the Chamber of Commerce to initiate the program and get it through. I went to every bar, restaurant, liquor store in town to ask for their support to distribute this product. And before I could even get the question out of my mouth, asking, will you support this project? Every one of them were cutting me off, saying, yes, we're in. How can we help? That's the Westerly Way.
One night, my friends and I were driving downtown, and we saw a man who was on the ground. It looked like he was looking for something underneath his car, and it didn't seem right to me, so we pulled over to see if we could offer our assistance. He was bleeding, he had fallen, and we had asked him what was going on, and he told us that that day he had learned he had lost his job. He was just in a very bad place. My friends and I sat and we listened to him and thought, what can we do to help? He continued to tell us a story, and from what he was telling us, we proceeded to make a few phone calls to get the help that he needed. That's the Westerly Way.
9/11/2001, terrible event, but it was even worse for my family. My brother-in-law was in the North Tower. He left behind a young wife and 4 kids, and we were terribly grieving. Our neighborhood was trying to help us in any way they could, and the best thing they did, the Wrights, the Crusoes, the Haydens, all called their friends and organized meals to be brought over every night for about 4 weeks. Someone would call Aggie up, my wife Aggie up, and say, I want to come over, so they'd bring over a big casserole dish. They would sit with Aggie, they'd give her a big hug, they'd talk to her for a bit. Then they would come back for the casserole dish and give her more support. It was just incredible how much that neighborhood came out for us and helped us get over this terrible thing. And I just think it's unique to Westerly to have this amount of caring for someone that, we didn't grow up in Westerly. But they just reached out to us. They really helped us get over this terrible thing. And even to this day, people call on the 9/11 anniversary and help console Aggie, because it's just it never goes away. That's the Westerly Way. It's just so great to be part of it.
When I think of the Westerly Way, there's one particular story that comes to mind, and it's when I was younger. I had some medical issues, and one instance particular caused me to be in the hospital for about a month, maybe even a little longer. During that time, my mom was working at the Westerly Hospital, and because this came on so suddenly, she wasn't expecting to have to take this time off. So she didn't have any paid time off days available. Well, all of her coworkers in the entire hospital network got together and they gave their own PTO days to my mom so that she could spend that time at the hospital with me and so I wouldn't be alone. And I really think that represents the Westerly Way as a whole, because everyone, saw a situation, they got together, they gave back, they were compassionate, they did the right thing. And it's stories like that that really represent the Westerly Way to me and things that I value about this community.
27 years ago, we lost our daughter, Rachel Walker-Dean, to sudden infant death syndrome. And as grieving parents, we went through all of the cycles of grief, and 10 years into that journey, I realized that I needed to do something positive in honor of Rachel, and decided that maybe running a marathon and raising some funds to support some unknown cause would be the best way to do that. I had completed the marathon and had come across an article in the Wesley Sun that was posted by a woman named Candace Kenyon, and she was looking to bring an angel statue to Westerly. So it intrigued me, and I contacted her. Long story short, we formed a committee, we did some research, we contacted Richard Paul Evans, who's the author of The Christmas Box, where the Angel of Hope originated from, and we put everything into motion. It took a collaborative effort with the Westerly Hospital, community members, great friends, great family, and finally in 2004 we dedicated the Angel of Hope Garden on the grounds of the Westerly Hospital. She provides a place of hope, she provides a place of solace, she provides a place of comfort for people that have lost, who are continually grieving. It's a 24 hours a day process. She's available at any hour, any time, morning, noon, or night, and people find a lot of comfort in going to the garden. So every December 6th, we invite people out in the community to come and honor their loved ones. We hold a candlelight vigil at 6 p.m. This is done actually across the nation, across the world, at all of the Angel of Hope statues. And it gives an opportunity for people to connect with one another, because that's what we do in Westerly. That's the Westerly Way. Glad to be a part of it.
When I was on the town council, I had to go to Providence for a deposition. And you know, you're a little nervous because you want your facts straight, you're protecting the town. My neighbor Mary knew I was going through this deposition with my paperwork, a little nervous, and she said to me, "Diane, I will take you to Providence." I said, "Oh, Mary, come on. You're gonna take time out of your day to take me to Providence?" She said, "Yes, I will take you right to the solicitor's door. I will wait in the waiting room for you, and then we'll go to lunch." Hey, lunch, something to look forward to after the deposition. So away we went, and that's exactly what we did. After the deposition, she did take me to lunch. She would not let me pay for gas. She took time out of her day, and she took me for lunch. However, I did treat her to Shala Brothers for a piece of pastry. She allowed me to do that. But that's the Westerly Way.
Back in 2013, a sales rep for my paint company came in and told me there was a contest going on where over all of the United States and all over Canada, they were going to pick 20 towns to be selected and have their town painted free, which was a $100,000 value. So I called the Chamber of Commerce and asked them what we could do to try to win this contest. And then I learned that the contest was already going on a month before we entered. So we were behind the 8 ball. So I sat down with the Chamber, we come up with a plan. We went and we put cards out in all the restaurants. We got our Mesquamaket Beach and Watch Hill businesses to participate. We were checking the standings, and we were showing like we were 18th, 19th. So the Chamber and I, we had to hustle and try to get more votes and more votes. And the standards would come out again, and Westerly's 19th or 20th. And I'm going, oh, we got to do better, we got to do better. So when the contest was all over, I got a call from our sales rep saying Westerly was one of the 20 towns out of all of Canada, all of the United States, selected to have their town painted free. It was amazing. And then I found out after that we were never in 19th place or 20th place. It was alphabetical order, which gave us the plug to go harder and harder. So we might have finished first or second. They wouldn't tell us the standings, but we were in alphabetical order. And that is the Westerly Way.
My name is Elena Antonino, and I own the Beauty Hut downtown Westerly, Rhode Island. I've been in business for 26 years. On Tuesday morning, I go to work, and I was on 11 Industrial Drive working, and next thing you know, the water's coming in, wonder what was going on, and no idea. And the time it was late afternoon, I ended up having a 5 feet of water in my salon. I was stuck in there. My husband came down and I said, I'm getting water in the building. So I called the town that something maybe was black on the front of the building, because sometime it did. And they said, we're sorry, it's nothing we can do. We get there when we get there. I never realized what was going on. So I was at the salon until about 3:30. And the crazy thing, my husband bought me this machine to keep sucking the water so I won't get the rug dirty, wet. And I'm there, lift up everything on the top of the shelves, the back room, everything, because I was trying to save things. I said, this is impossible. So by the time I'm getting this water, going and dumping it down the sink and not realize that the water was coming back again. So I was wasting time and sweaty because I'm like, oh, I'm trying to work so hard. It was at least about probably like 2 or 3 feet of water inside it. The rug was blowing up, the furniture was flying all over the room, and the electricity was on. So I just panicked. I said, that's it, I'm dead. You know, and I couldn't move my leg, nothing. So anyway, all of a sudden I looked, the electricity was off, went off, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm safe. So then I managed to go in the bathroom, and my husband is going crazy, calling and calling. And anyway, I said, I'm coming out. I opened the window. So he came in the water and he pulled me out. I just couldn't believe it. Once I got up the hill, I couldn't believe it. How much water was there, and everything was just a nightmare. But Maria Bellavita was up the hill, and she came up and you know, she approached me. Don't worry, I got a place for you, and you got my key, you got everything, your employee, everything. You make yourself home, anything you need, I'm there for you. Please don't worry about nothing.
I saw Beauty Hut like pretty much underwater, and my heart just stopped. I was crying, I saw her crying, and I said to her, anything you need, my door is open. And all of them. She said, I have so many people. I said, I don't care. I would make do, whatever we had to do, we would do.
At that point, you really can't think very straight. You're confused. You're like, it's very emotional. But, you know, with Maria's support, you know, the girls, everybody made us feel so home. Then, of course, Maria wanted us to stay there, which, you know, you're like, you're confused, you don't know, whatever. I knew that it was going to take a long time for me to come back on the other location to the time you got everything together. So it just happened that my niece Stephanie, she had a little boutique, and she decided that she wanted to have children, and she said, Elena, I want it out, you can come in here. So because of that, I just started, you know, putting things together with family and friends, helping, and my husband agree, whatever, with my daughter. And 5.5 weeks, I was back at my own place, and with the same staff, support, everything. And my family, everybody was there, putting stuff together, furniture, everything. I was like, I couldn't believe it. So I stepped out of Bellavita, and I went to my place. And even since then, with Maria, we've been very close. We support each other. Anything we need for each other, we're there. No competition. We're like a family. And, you know, she's wonderful. And, you know, life goes on. You pick up the pieces and just keep going. And it makes you strong, and it makes you appreciate so much in life. Along you got your health, you got everything, and the support from everybody. And Westerly is a great town, and the community is unbelievable, and friends, family, everybody. So we are blessed to live in a place like this town, like Westerly, Rhode Island.
My name is Barbara Stellman. I live in Misquamicut Beach, and I have owned several businesses and run several businesses for myself and other people.
My name is Michelle Pinto. I'm a third-generation part of the Colucci family that has owned the Andrea in Misquamicut Beach since 1946. We are currently operating as the Andrea Seaside Restaurant.
Hi, I'm Michelle Vaca, Beachcomber Real Estate Agency, Misquamicut Beach, Rhode Island. Beachcomber's been in business since 1947, and I took over the business in 1984 with my dad, Johnny Vaca. I am also the moderator of the Mesquamaket Fire District, and I took on that position after Superstorm Sandy in 2012.
Superstorm Sandy changed the entire landscape of Mesquamaket Beach.
That was the largest storm that our family has seen since we've owned the property. We have been through several storms, but that was the largest one that took the most damage and really changed the face of our business. We were operating as a hotel up until that time and made the decision to change our business model and take the hotel down because it was so severely damaged.
I don't think anyone can forget where they were in October 2012. I personally was at a wedding in New York, and I knew by Sunday we were in trouble, and I knew by Monday it was going to be a direct hit.
Just didn't affect my business, it affected everybody's business. The whole beach was upside down. I went up in an airplane right after the storm, and I looked down and I was trying to decipher in my mind what I was looking at. The landscape was totally different, and I just couldn't even believe what I saw. Devastation.
I think that Mesquamaket in general was hit very hard. I think that no one business was hit the hardest.
It wasn't a pretty picture at all. We had sand dunes on Atlantic Avenue that I'm not sure how tall they were, but they had to be 12 to 16 feet tall, and the beach was gone. There really wasn't a beach. There was an ocean. The sand was on Atlantic Avenue. Buildings were thrown around like toys, and it was sad. It was a sad day.
I can't even explain my feeling. My mind would race, and that was it. I can't tell you. I never felt anything like that. It was just so, like, how are we gonna fix it?
My sister and I walked the beach the next day, walked the property, and we were overwhelmed. We had been through several storms, had damage before, but never to this level. For example, one small little building that held 2 rooms was completely gone.
Personally, for me, I cried. That was my first reaction. And then I'm not sure what came over me. Maybe it was my father's spirit, but I knew I had to just pull on my boots and literally get to work and get things done and recover.
I can't say I was numb or anything, because I wasn't numb. I was like, holy cow, what's gonna happen? You just, like, your whole life, my whole life was invested there. I grew up there.
The whole front of the building was wide open. The cement patio where people enjoy food and drinks was basically broken up and shoved inside the building. It was cement just picked up, and you know, the power of the ocean is so amazing. So we were kind of just hanging. It felt like the building was hanging because the tide was still so high. Like, it felt like it was just hanging over the ocean.
There was raw sewage and there was bottled gas floating around, and it was a dangerous scene. And we were really only allowed in there for a short period of time just to make sure what was going on, if we had to call our insurance companies. But it was just extremely sad.
But I was just like, it just looked like it was totaled out, you know, and how are we gonna rebuild it? And, you know, it was terrible. I looked all around and everyone had different color tags on the building, and mine was red, and I'm trying to get an answer from someone. What does the red tag mean? You know, and they said that those buildings are gonna come down, and I just didn't understand, like, why they were gonna come down. And if they were coming down, then that was it for me. I wouldn't have rebuilt.
I could close my eyes and see it. I see all the sand on Atlantic Avenue piled 12, 14, 15 feet high, and then it being moved down to the State Beach parking lot. And there's pyramids like there was in Egypt of these sand pyramids. There's National Guardsmen with guns in their Jeeps and their vehicles. Our local police are patrolling the streets. It was a little scary and intimidating at times, but I knew everyone was there to help and to protect others and their properties, and so it was okay.
The support from the community was really overwhelming. You can't even imagine how it felt. past employees showed up out of nowhere. I hadn't seen them in 10 years. Community members bringing food.
And we were blessed with some warm weather that first week, which was wonderful because as we were all hosing down the raw sewage and whatever else was around our properties, out of nowhere, busloads of folks showed up.
Then all of a sudden, hundreds of volunteers were arriving on buses, people that are just not even affiliated with you personally, but love the area.
And they were younger folks, older folks, and they had shovels and brooms. And these people just, you don't know them, and they're there saying, hi, we're here to help you. What can we do to help you?
Once the media got what happened out there, people just stepped up. It was amazing. It was amazing from a stranger coming down, bringing you coffee, bringing you lunch, just helping you dig out septic out of your building, just everything that they did. It was amazing.
There were a lot of so many people, and it's so humbling, really, to think about it, think back on it. I do have one memory of John Balone showing up like moments after we were in our own building, and it was because we're all business people. It was very like, we'll help each other, we'll do this.
I was stunned at first and said, well, I've got a parking lot full of debris. If you could help me with that, it'd be awesome. And within an hour, my parking lot was clean. And I was probably the only clean parking lot down there. And they went from house to house, helping everybody that needed help. Some folks refused help. Most folks were gracious and just so thankful that these young people showed up to help us.
I was like, I can't believe people are coming from all over to help us. And it was because they love the same thing we love, and it's that beach.
I think Misquamicket's been, for generations, it's a place that people have, especially throughout the area, this is their vacation. This is where they build their family memories. Many come year after year. I think that a lot of those people were those people that just, this is their beach. They wanted to see it come back.
They all say the same thing. We love this place. We love this place. And I think that's what motivated them, because they all come to the beach. And they saw the pictures and said, let's go. And they showed up, and we were so thankful for them.
As far as raising the money, the benefits that everybody was coming up with, doing different things, and it really helped all the business owners, because it took a long time for them to, for the insurance people to get to us. And there's still a lot of us that have unsettled cases and probably will never be settled.
The community got together, and throughout town there were little buckets to bring back the beach. There were sweatshirt sales, and there was close to $500,000 raised by the community of Westerly to help those that really needed it.
As a community, it was our darkest hour, but also our finest hour. We had everybody you could think of that loved the beach was there, just trying to help in any way they could, in any capacity, whether it was digging a ditch or ripping wood down or moving debris or taking stuff out of the pond. They just were unbelievable.
On behalf of my family, my sister and my mother, we currently work together as the third generation owners. We really do thank all of the volunteers that came out, all the agencies. It really showed us that people were pulling together, and we're raising our children to do the same in their generation.
Quite frankly, that's what people in Westerly do. I'll help you. What do you need?
My name's Melissa Murray, and I am Dorian Murray's mom. Dorian was 4 years old when he was diagnosed with stage 4 rhabdomyosarcoma cancer. It's a soft tissue cancer. Dorian was an amazing kid. His personality just shined through in everything that he did. His laughter, his jokes, everything he did was from his heart, and it was strong. And he had just such an amazing personality about him. He made everybody laugh, and he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. Dorian went to Springbrook Elementary School and he absolutely loved it there. He had a ton of friends. The school system was so supportive. The staff, his teachers, the principal, through Dorian's diagnosis, they went above and beyond to make his school career as easy and as accommodating as they could with his diagnosis. Springbrook School really, truly was a treasure to us. Dorian really loved all of the events and traditions that Westerly had to offer him. He loved the duck race. I mean, he just got such a kick out of seeing them dump all the ducks into the water and, see them floating down the river. He absolutely loved it. And then, of course, they had all the little stuff for the kids throughout the park there and on the street. And he also really liked the virtual art festival. He really loved going down and looking at all the vendors. He'd always find something that he just had to have. He just really loved fun things like that. And then, of course, the summer pops. What kid doesn't love the summer pops? The music, the fun stuff for the kids, the fireworks. He loved everything that Westerly offered. So Dorian went through 4 years battling cancer, radiation therapy, chemotherapy, surgeries. And at the end of 4 years, when we came to understand that treatment was no longer working for him, Dorian just had this vision of being remembered. And through his 4 years, he always wanted to help. He would raise money on our front lawn selling his toys to his friends, and he'd bring $4 or $5 to clinic at the Tomorrow Fund and say, I want to help kids with cancer. And towards the end of his life, when he knew that he was dying, we knew that he was dying, he made the decision that he wanted to do more. And I think he thought that being remembered would bring attention to kids with cancer. And he just wanted people to pay attention to what was happening because he knew kids aren't supposed to have cancer. He knew that. And so he just said to his father, do you think before I go to heaven, I'd be famous in China? And through social media, the quick Facebook post his father put on and just said, hey, anybody in China, can you hold up a sign that says D Strong, which was the nickname that we had given Dorian over the 4 years. And Facebook really responded to that, and it really took off, and people all over the world started holding up signs that said #DStrong, and it really just went from there, and it brought a lot of attention to pediatric cancer, and it brought a lot of attention to him, and he wanted to be famous in China, and he ended up being famous all over the world, and in such an inspiring way.
Hi Dorian, I'm Wilson. I know you from my mom's iPhone. The Great Wall of China is really cool, so stay strong and get well. We too can climb the Great Wall together.
People think of Dorian and they think that the boy that had cancer, and then they start thinking and talking about pediatric cancer, which is exactly what we wanted them to do. Here in Westerly, the support was really tremendous when Dorian got sick, and not just at the D Strong where the end of it happened, but throughout the entire 4-year journey. When Dorian was first diagnosed, I was a single mom at the time, had just recently gone through a divorce, and so the divorce brought us from 2 incomes to 1, and then Dorian's diagnosis brought us from 1 income to none. And Westerly really stepped up and helped Dorian and I maintain the life that we already had. They had fundraisers for us in the town, pasta dinners, bowl-a-thons, whatever people could think of that helped us pay our rent and helped us pay our electric bill and helped us pay our gas bill and helped me provide a home for my son while we were struggling through this. And towards the end of Dorian's life, Westerly really made a huge impact for Dorian. Chuck Royce in the Ocean House had us spend the night at the Ocean House and had chefs come up into our room and cook Dorian whatever he wanted. And he asked for pigs in a blanket, but they did it in their very classy Ocean House way, which was really tremendous. Over 2,500 people that live in Westerly went to the beach and did a #DStrong spell out on the sand, and there's a great aerial photo. And that event was so impactful, not only to me, but to Dorian as well. And we were actually there that day. Dorian had chemo that day. We drove to the beach to be a part of it. And when we got to the beach, he just was not feeling well. He couldn't get out of the car. And so we ended up going home. And I don't think a lot of people know that we were actually there. And we wanted to support everybody supporting us. But the picture, the ending result of that picture is absolutely stunning. I have a large frame, I have a large picture of it framed, it's in my house. And that was really spectacular to see how many people came together. And then a few days before Dorian passed away, the town people came together in Wilcox Park and had a candlelight vigil for Dorian, just sending love and prayers and asking for an easy and pain-free transition to heaven. And then after Dorian passed away, people were still supportive. They were still, I was getting fruit baskets and I was getting all kinds of cards, sympathy cards and love. And I don't think the town of Westerly has forgotten Dorian, and I don't think that they will. Mel's Ice Cream has a picture of Dee Strong still in her window, and there are so many shops throughout Westerly that you can still see Dorian in his boxing glove photograph hanging in their storefronts. And when I drive through the streets and I see his face, it means the world to me. And Westerly, I couldn't have asked to be part of a better town and a more supportive community than Westerly.
I would just like to say that I was part of the 300th anniversary. I don't know where the 50 years have gone, and we're now celebrating 350, and we've come a long way, and we've got a long way to go, and we do it together.
The Westerly Way means one for all and all for one.
I think the most significant thing of the Westerly Way is the family.
The Westerly Way is family. I cannot be more impressed with the closeness of families here. I think it's just a great way to live, close to family and friends.
The Westerly Way means to me the manner in which we live our lives now and want to keep it that way. And there are many, many people in this town that blend together, and I think that that's what makes our town so wonderful.
Well, I interpret the Westerly Way as a good thing. I know it was brought up in town as a negative, but I don't believe that at all. I believe it's just the way of life in Westerly, the diversity of the people, the very different neighborhoods, and yet the magical ability to all gel together into one.
The Westerly Way has taken a hit in some cases that it didn't deserve. The Westerly Way is built into the fiber of this town. It's a very important factor in this town. There's wonderful people, wonderful things to learn from the town, and I see nothing negative about the Westerly Way. I hope and pray that it stays that way.
The Westerly Way is a great way. People get upset sometimes when they say, oh, you gotta know a guy. Well, it doesn't hurt to know a guy, because if you have a problem and you come to me because you know me and I know a guy that can help you, nothing wrong with that.
The Westerly Way for me was everybody treated me so good.
Westerly Way means to me to love one another as God has loved us.
No one works alone. You have to have people around you. And I've learned that in Westerly, that people are just so generous and outstanding, and that's the Westerly Way.
The Westerly Way, I'd say people working together, and especially the Ocean Community Chamber of Commerce, which has done great things for Westerly.
I would say in Westerly, if there's an important person or someone in the community that needs help, we all come together and help them in a time of need.
The Westerly Way really can't be defined, really. I mean, I guess you could say it's a sense of community, a sense of friendship, but you can't really define it. You see it. It's a thing you see throughout the people, the community, and what you do throughout the community.
The Westerly Way is friends helping friends every day.
The Westerly Way is celebrating and loving all cultures and all family traditions from all over.
I think the Westerly Way is that no matter what happens, good or bad, we all support each other and do whatever we can do to get us through a crisis, and that's our way.
For me, the Westerly Way is that if you have something you can share or give, that you do, you step up. And And then if someone needs it, then they step up for the next person. And we just continue to evolve.
The Westerly Way means that it's so much love and support in the community come together, that we are so blessed to live in a town like Westerly, Rhode Island.
Love, compassion, and support. That is the Westerly Way.
And so that, my friends, is the Westerly Way.
The Westerly Way means going above and beyond, going the extra mile, doing something that you don't have to do, but doing it because you want to help. You want to make a difference. You want to change a circumstance from a negative to a positive. Doing the right thing and extending yourself in a way with passion and purity of heart that's going to help change the lives of someone else, maybe someone you don't even know. It's a feeling of neighborliness, a feeling of compassion, and it's showing a capacity for caring for mankind that might be unexpected, but is so welcomed and so needed in this world and in these times. And I couldn't be more proud of the community that I work in, the committee that we've been working on with the Westerly 350, and the many demonstrations of love and support that have truly shown themselves to be the Westerly Way.